everybody, and welcome to the Paws for Stitches podcast. My name is Candy, and I am excited to come at you with this episode 21 of this podcast about all of the knitting and crafting kinds of things. I am recording from our little cabin up in the Adirondacks in Wilmington, New York. So we were lucky enough to be up here for the Memorial Day weekend. And since Jamie had an extra day off of school today because they didn't use all their snow days, I was able to take a vacation day so that we can stay up through Tuesday, but we'll be heading back home later today. I'm going to save some of what maybe I will call in the future the cabin antics segment until the end of this episode, so that way if you are not interested in that, you certainly by no means have to watch. But we definitely have some antics to share this time around, and I look forward to chattering about that later on in the episode. For now, I will just say once again, my name is Candy, and welcome to those of you who are new to finding this podcast. I'm excited that you found me, and I hope you'll stick around and hang out and do a little knitting with me as you, just kind of spend some quiet time for yourself, which you surely deserve. For those of you who are returning viewers, welcome back as always, and I'm excited to have you back, and I can't wait to spend time with all of you. So here we go. If you are looking for me on any kind of social media, you can find me as Paws4, that's the number 4, Paws4 Stitches. And on Ravelry and Instagram are the two places that I spend the most time. We also have a fabulous Paws for Stitches podcast Ravelry group, which you can find as well. And it is filled with lovely people who enjoy chattering about lots of different things. We have a couple different knit-alongs and whatnot going on at the moment. So go ahead over to Ravelry and check that out as well. As for that too, I should say that I have some contest announcements and things like that to announce for the knit-alongs, but I am going to also save that for the end of the episode as well. So unlike normal, usually sometimes it takes me 15 minutes to get into talking about what I'm actually here for, which is the knitting. So I'm actually going to jump right in today. It's actually been a shorter amount of time since I podcast last, maybe a little bit over 2 weeks. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes because I feel like I don't have as much to show or to talk about. Let me rephrase that. I don't have a lot to show, but I do have a lot to talk about. And one of the reasons for that is because of what I announced last time, and that is that there is, besides the Paws for Stitches podcast group, another group that I have recently helped to form is the Slow Ass Knitters group, which can also be found on Ravelry. And as I mentioned that time, that consists of 7 podcasters, including myself. I'll rattle down that list quickly so that if you haven't checked out any of these other podcasts, you could go ahead and do so because they are all absolutely lovely women who I adore. But I am joined by Lucky Jenny of the Lucky Jenny Knits podcast, Lynn of the Sunshine and Bubblegum podcast, Jen Sheelan of the Jen Sheelan podcast, Sarah of the Hooks and Books podcast, Lacey, who does the Knitted Cupcake podcast, and last but certainly never least is Amy of the Amy's Knotted Knits podcast. So the 7 of us have been, I wouldn't say commiserating, but cheering each other on because we all do see ourselves as knitters who love what we do, but it takes us a little while to finish things. So, thus why we are slow knitters. Anyway, we actually have a summer top knit-along going on right now. When we created this group, what we decided was that we would like to do some sort of a seasonal knit-along. So for every season of the year, we're going to plan something that you can kind of join us and get involved with. And for the summer, it's all about the summer tops. If you haven't gone over and checked out this new Ravelry group, even if you're not interested in signing up for the CAL or chattering along with the group in the chatter thread, it would be worth going over there and checking it out just for the summer top bundle alone. Those of us who are sort of hosting the Ravelry group have been kind of trying to maintain and update and add patterns to a bundle, which you can find if you look in the thread. You'll find it on the top right. You'll see a little thing that says one bundle. You just click on that and you'll find it. And there are just some absolutely amazing patterns in there, as I've mentioned last time as well. This time though, I am putting full blame on this group and that bundle for sort of nudging me off of my whole 2017 dreams and schemes path. Basically, I think I'm pretty sure already that the title of this episode is going to be the Summer Top Saga, because that is what I'm going to talk to you guys about now for a little bit. I feel like I'm taking quite a journey with this summer top knit along. And, part of it is about just learning, and part of it is about the quest for finding the perfect summer top. Not only one that I absolutely love, but one that I think will knit up and fit nicely. One of the things that I strongly recommend is that those of you who have not done a lot of garment knitting, one of the things I'm realizing about knitting summer tops is that it's a good place to start. Probably the next best thing to starting with a baby sweater or some kind of baby garment, but this is even better because without the investment of time into a larger sweater project that you may be unsure about whether or not you'll find the right fit for yourself, starting with something like a summer top is a little bit less time consuming, I would say. So definitely something that I would strongly recommend you think about doing if you are just about deciding that you want to get into some garment knitting. So anyway, that said, let me explain to you what a learning process this has been for me. And I'm actually glad. I've learned a lot already from making some bad decisions, but I don't necessarily know it's ever about bad decisions, but it's about, recognizing when you're not making the right decision so that you can change your plan before it's too late. So that is like the lesson learned in this podcast episode is, be mindful about your knitting and think about it and plan ahead, and hopefully it will all work out in the end, which I think now I'm on the right path towards that end. So anyway, let me refresh your memory about sort of my summer top saga journey. My summer top journey started with my One Twisted Tree yarn, which I don't actually have with me up at the cabin because, as I'll mention in a moment, I am no longer using it for my summer top project, at least not for this particular summer top. What started out as my plan was that I had, sort of earned the right to purchase this absolutely, oh my goodness, amazingly beautiful yarn from Danny, which I am still super excited to use. But unfortunately for me, the way I started out on this journey was with my One Twisted Tree yarn in her lustrous base. It was the Frozen Forest of Dean colorway, if you remember. It was absolutely beautiful. And what I was intending to make with that was this, the Talent Tee by Sonia Barjalowska. I am sorry, this copy is black and white, so it's probably not going to do it justice if I can. Well, I don't even think it's necessary to put in a picture right now because I'm no longer making this tee. That is kind of where this may be a surprise to some of you, because when I last podcast, I was chugging along. I had told you, though, that I had already decided that the One Twisted Tree yarn that I had wanted to use, I was not able to get gauge for this particular Talent Tee pattern. So what I decided to do instead was to switch. I had gone to the local yarn shop up here in Lake Placid and sought out some advice from Sue, and I decided to keep the same pattern but switch to a different yarn. And I've always wanted to work with linen, so it was no surprise that I decided to give it a shot with the Euroflax Sport, which is by Louette, and I thought I was doing okay with that as well. Might put in a picture here because I think I have one of where I had left off when I last talked to you guys. But as I started to knit more and more of the pattern, I wasn't, if you think about, look at how pretty this detail is, the lace part at the bottom there. It's kind of like a wavy sort of pattern. And I just felt like with the linen, I wasn't getting enough definition to really see that. So I knew I wasn't going to be happy with the finished project. So another plan out the window. So first yarn, out the window. First pattern, now out the window. However, I am still working with the same yarn, the same Euroflax Sport, which is good. So that's something that's working out, it seems like. My next attempt was actually going to be to switch up my pattern and try working up the forest weave top, which is stunning. I will absolutely put in a picture of that here because I don't have the pattern printed out with me, but that is by Yumiko Alexander. And I will absolutely be making this top at some point. However, after spending a lot of time talking with my friend Rhonda, I wasn't even sure, we kind of weren't sure if maybe even the Euroflax wasn't going to be the best yarn to use for that particular pattern either. Maybe something like the way that I want that to drape, that forest weave, the way I want it to drape, I want it to have sort of like a sheen and a shine to it that I didn't think I was going to get from the linen. So Rhonda suggested, she said, well, why don't you do a search for patterns that people have actually made out of the Euroflax? So I started on that path, and actually what I ended up doing was going to the Louette website to see what kind of patterns they actually had worked up to use with their yarn, because obviously, you would think then that would be a match made in heaven. So thank goodness, I think now I have finally settled on the summer top that I am going to make through to the end, and that is the Violetta tunic. And that is by Laura Chow. That's Chau. Laura, I hope I am pronouncing your name correctly. If I am not, I apologize. But here is a picture of the Violetta tunic. It is really a unique, but such a simple, absolutely simple pattern. It's very, very cool. I'm kind of staring as I'm holding this up at that detail on the bottom, which is my favorite part of the top. I like it because it's going to hang a little bit lower, so I just think the look of that will be okay for me. And it really, I have to tell you now that I've kind of gotten that whole conversation out of the way, I want to show you how it's working up in the Euroflax, and it is looking stunning. So here's what I have so far. I actually have the back of the tunic already finished. So I don't know how this is going to work out here because it's kind of a longer project to show, but I'll just kind of do one of those deals. There's that bottom detail. Awesome, right? And by the way, the purple, let me get a little closer there for you to see it. The purple is not the Euroflax Sport, but it actually is something that I was lucky enough to find in the sale section at my local yarn shop back in New Jersey. And I believe I don't have the tag with me, but I believe it was Claudia hand painted linen. And one of the reasons that one of the women in my knitting group suggested trying it is because it actually works with, oops, sorry about that. That would be my mom trying to call me in the middle of the podcast. Hi, Mom. I know you'll be watching that. Now you'll know why I did not answer the phone. Didn't mean to ignore you, but I will call you back, I promise. Somebody told me that they think that the Claudia hand painted uses actually the same base of the Euroflax Sport. So I thought, okay, I guess then that'll work out just fine. And I really, really like, let me show you this close up again. I really like this interesting contrast of I believe the yellow is called Buttercream. And that is, again, the Louette Euroflax Sport, and then I don't remember the name of the purple, but I will be sure to try and put that in the show notes, which, by the way, I'm a horrible, bad podcaster. I still have not put show notes up from my last episode. I'm not sure what I'm going to do about that now. I could probably still do something, at least even if I go back and give you guys sort of a bulleted list of the most important things that I talked about. Maybe I could try and do that, but I do promise to get show notes up for this episode much sooner than that. In fact, if you are looking for show notes, I always create a thread in my Ravelry Paws for Stitches podcast group with the name of the episode. And if you click on that, you should be able to find the show notes for that episode. So that's where you can find it. And this time, I promise I will actually put it there. So anyway, I have the total back of the top finished. And then my goal while we were up here at the cabin, even though we were so busy, I did not get nearly as much knitting time as I normally do. My goal was to finish the front section, okay, was to definitely finish the purple edging. And then also, one of the things I can show you that's interesting about the construction of this, obviously it involves some short row work to kind of fill in sort of where that dip is, to kind of get you back to sort of a straight shot section, if that makes any sense. So now I am ready to go. What's nice about that is, hello car knitting. I basically have many inches now of just, I think every 14th row, I need to do a decrease row with a slip knit and a knit two together on either end, so that I slowly am decreasing for the bust. But otherwise, it's basically just simple stockinette back and forth, which is amazing. One of the things that I was wondering about as I was working on this, though, I don't mind. No, I'm not going to lie. I'm not a big fan of purling. It's not my favorite thing to do. I feel like I'm talk about being a slow beep knitter. I am a really slow beep purler. Big time. So one of the things that I would have loved to have had more confidence to think through is whether or not there would have been a way to convert this pattern so that it could have been knit in one section. Like, I was even thinking, I wondered if, although I guess I wonder how that would have worked with the short row shaping. The short rows. Never mind. This is not for you guys to listen to me ponder and think about things that, could have been, but will not be. I'm doing fine. And you know what? Quite frankly, one of the things that I know is not a strong suit of mine is finishing and seaming. So I think from time to time, it will be good to force myself to have a project that does need to be seamed up on the sides. So I look forward to that. I look forward to seeing if it's harder to get the seam to look nice and polished when you're working with linen. I don't know. I've never knitted anything with linen before. So this will be a first for me. So I'm really excited. That is where we stand with Summer Top Saga 2017. It took, 2 different yarns, 3 different if you include my purple edging. It took 3 different yarns and 3 different patterns for me to finally be happy with what's going on. But seriously, you guys, obviously you can't. I don't know if this is going to look, I hope the yellow is going to look like an okay color on me. That's one thing that I'm funny about. I don't think about, how everybody says, oh, I don't look good in pink, or I don't look good in orange or whatever. I don't really care. If I like the color, I like the color. I've never really paid much attention to whether that color is going to look good on me or not. I don't know if that just makes me sound kind of foolish, but we're going to go with it. It's happy, it's bright, it's fun, it's summery, and I am going to have a summer top. So super excited about that. All right. So moving right along then, that was the Summer Top Saga segment of this episode 21. But now I have to get back to reality. And with reality sometimes comes a little self-shaming. What I decided to do before this episode was I decided to go back to my trusty bullet journal, to the double page spread that I showed you guys way back in January, which highlighted sort of what I wanted my dreams and schemes to be in 2017. Now, I left a little note section for myself for each of those dreams, for each of those schemes. And I actually went back and jotted down a little note, like right around the, sort of a May update note to sort of reflect on where I am with each of those goals. And I don't want to take a tremendously long amount of time to do this, but I think it's important to let people know and to also hold myself accountable for these, sort of plans that I kind of set into motion at the beginning of the year. I want to say that we're only halfway through the year, so I'm not completely giving up hope yet. And I do think that I also have to be realistic and allow myself the opportunity to get excited about new things that might come up throughout the year. And the summer top thing, also, especially to be a part of that with, 6 other women who I absolutely adore. I'm not going to beat myself up about that at all. But what I am going to do is go through very quickly each and every one of my dreams and schemes. There are only 6 of them. And I am going to go all Dancing with the Stars style here, you guys. I am going to rate myself with a little number placard, okay? I wish I deserved 10s, because if you watch Dancing with the Stars and whenever Bruno holds up his 10 with such passion and enthusiasm, like I wish I could give myself a 10 for any one of these 6 things, but it's just not happening. Let's face it. I don't think Bruno would be terribly disappointed with me, but I also do think that, we have to be realistic here. So here we go. The first dream that I told you guys about way back in January was the fact that this year I want to design my own shawl pattern. And I'm not giving up on that yet, but considering the fact that I've already restarted it 3 times, and after that 3rd time, I've not been back to it for quite some time, I don't really deserve much of a score. So I'm giving myself a 2 on shawl design. What are you going to do? I have to face reality. I'm not giving myself a 0 or a 1, because I will tell you this, I think about it a lot. That I don't know if that's good or bad or what, but I do think about it. So that's something. But I'm giving myself a 2. So that's where we are with that. All right, moving right along to the Mitten a Month Challenge. I have to say, even though I don't have any mitten progress to show you guys this episode, because I'll tell you that in a minute, I think for the most part, I have kept up with that one. I have 2 completed pairs of mittens. I have started a 3rd pair, and I already have some ideas about the other ones that I want to cast on between now and the end of the year. So I would say, all things considered, I am giving myself an 8 for the Mitten a Month Challenge. It's not a perfect score by any stretch. I would say I would have been closer to a 9 or a 10 if I would have had made some more progress on that thrummed mitten that I wanted to show you guys this time around, but I don't, so it is what it is. Sock Experiment 2017, I believe, is getting the highest score of a 9, because I am so excited about where I am in my sock journey. I am going to show you a little bit more of where I am with my latest pair of socks in a moment, but I'm really excited about all of the, the different things I've tried in terms of cast-ons and different types of heels and number of stitches, things like that. And I think I've gotten really close to pretty much nailing what I think is the right combination of all of those things for me. So I'm pretty proud and pleased at that 9. And I will show you some sock progress in a moment. All right. My crochet Granny Stripes blanket. That was a dream. Yeah, it's still a scheme. But right now it's at a 4. I have definitely not picked it. It's so funny. I feel like so many people talk about that project as that it's the go-to sort of comfort thing that they pick up when they need some sort of mindless crafting to do. I guess maybe I'm not picky. Like anything I pick up to knit or crochet helps me, when I need something comforting. So I don't know if I look at that Granny Stripes blanket and I think, oh my goodness, I cast on too many stitches. I made it too large. It takes forever to do a row. I'm not seeing any I don't know if I avoid it because of the fact that I'm not seeing any progress. But what I have to admit to myself is that I'm never going to make any progress if I keep avoiding it. So that definitely is a dream that I should revisit, and I will get back to you on that if I can. All right, this next one's interesting. I don't know if you guys remember this, but just recently I was texting with my two buddies, Jen Sheelan and Lucky Jenny. And as you probably know, the three of us and our hubbies will be sharing a house for Rhinebeck this year. And I think it was Jen Sheelan that sent a panicked text about whether or not, and we have to also blame David of the Dog Dare podcast for this, because David had showed his idea for his Rhinebeck sweater, and I think that triggered our memories and wondering, like, wait a minute, are any of us making Rhinebeck sweaters for the hubbies? Are there hubby Rhinebeck sweaters in the works? I don't know. Lucky Jenny and Jen Sheelan, you might be upset with me, but when I went back and I looked at my dreams and schemes, it actually did say his and hers Rhinebeck sweaters. But notice it says Rhinebeck / Christmas sweaters. So here's what I'm thinking. I have to show you guys something in a minute related to my own Rhinebeck sweater, and I think this will help justify my recent decision. What I think I'd like to do is I definitely want to make another sweater for Jamie, because the last sweater I made for him, while it came out beautifully, it was a gorgeous cabled sweater in a green, looked great on him, although it was already a little too big. But then let's talk about the fact that I made a sweater for the love of my life, who then lost 55 pounds. And let's just say the sweater looks ridiculous on him. So I need to make the man another sweater to celebrate the new Jamie bod. All right. So I definitely have to do it. But given the fact that I think I may have picked the sweater I'd like to make for Rhinebeck, and when I show it to you in a minute, I think you're probably all going to think I need to go get my head examined. I'm not so sure that a Rhinebeck sweater for me and for Jamie is realistic. So my proposal to the ladies was, well, what if they get Rhinebeck hats? We can pull that off. We can definitely make Rhinebeck hubby hats. So that is the newly revised plan for that particular scheme. But because it's not what I had hoped for, I'm giving myself a 2. I think I'm a little harsh on this one, though, because, I don't know, maybe it's like a 2.5. Let's go with a 2.5. But let me show you guys very quickly. I don't have a lot I'm going to hold up my phone and show you the picture on my phone. So I don't know if this will be great, but I don't know where sometimes I do find that I live under a rock, but apparently there's this designer named Kate Davies that is just amazing, that I've never really looked at too many of her designs before, but check out the Westering Home sweater. First of all, I want this whole outfit. And I want to take a picture of myself wearing it in Scotland. Does that seem a little lofty of a plan? I don't know. I don't think I could pull off that headband look, but it is really cute. But look at that skirt even. How adorable is that? Let me find a different. Look at the back. Here, let's see. We could do the back here. I'm sorry, we're on Adirondack uploading time. I don't know if that's there's the back of the sweater. I like it because it's different. It's sort of like more of a sweater jacket or a sweater coat. So I'm thinking that might be kind of a cool thing to have for Rhinebeck, because depending on what the weather will be, I mean, I've only been once, and when I went, it was actually a little on the warmer side, which was cool because then I was able to wear my sheep sweater from last year without having to cover it up with a jacket or anything like this. But I'm thinking that this could go both ways. Like if it's warm, I could wear this as my jacket over like a t-shirt or something that's a little bit lighter. But if it's cold, It's bulky enough that I can even maybe bundle up with a couple layers underneath and still get away with it, possibly. I don't know. Have not thought about yarn yet, but can we think about what that sweater looks like, and that it looks like I haven't even bought the pattern yet, but it looks a little complicated perhaps, although I've heard Kate Davies' patterns are beautifully written, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed about that. I don't know. If I start it soon, I think after I finish this Violetta tunic, I'm going to explore that a little bit more. So that's where we are with that. So I'm giving myself a 2 because I definitely have got to get my butt in gear with that quickly. All right, and my last dream and scheme was not knitting related, but remember I had talked about a while ago, I had shown some hand-painted wine glasses that I had been working on. And the ones that I had most recently made, I guess back then, were the ones that I designed to share one with Emily of the Knitting Butterflies podcast. It was a Hamilton themed wine glass, and I had wanted her to have another thing to give away for her Hamilton hat knit along. So I hope that was well received. The winner of that, I don't remember who it was. And I had thought about maybe starting to design some more wine glasses. I haven't done too much with that. The only thing I will tell you, and if I can, I don't know if I still have a picture of it, but if I do, maybe I'll pop it in. Most recently, I have been very busily involved as a part of a steering committee for the new 5-year strategic plan that my school district is in the process of creating. And actually now it's pretty much in place. The only thing we are still getting settled on are the goals. But one of the things that we were most proud of was the mission statement that we came up with for our school district. It was very much inspired by one of the exuberant librarians that work in one of the 7 primary schools that I have the pleasure of working with. And what I love about it is it actually has sort of a Dr. Seuss feel to it. And it really, though, as simple and childlike as it sounds, if you really take it apart, it's an awesome mission statement. So what does this have to do with a wine glass? I don't know what gave me this idea, but I wanted to say a thank you to my arts and humanities director. And so I decided, because she was a part of the steering committee as well, to make her a wine glass that had the mission statement on it. My thinking was that, sometimes we have difficult, frustrating days working in the job that we do. So I had said to my supervisor, I said, you know what? Now you have something that even if you had a frustrating day and you want to go home and pour yourself a little glass of wine, on that glass is a reminder of what we're really here for, that it's really about the kids and all of the drama that comes along with it. Sometimes we have to forget about that and just remember why we're doing what we're doing. So that in mind, I gave myself a 3 because even though I haven't made much progress towards the knitting wine glasses that I had hoped to create, I think even just making that one glass recently reminded me of how much fun I have doing it and that I do have to get back to that. So that's the dreams and schemes, you guys. That's where we are. So what I'd like to do, though, is bump back up to dream number 2, which is, I think it actually falls number 3, but is my sock experimentation 2017. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about these, but I did want to show you that whoever all of you people are who constantly do contrasting heels and toes, I love you and I curse you at the same time, because every time I think I'm not going to do one, I decide I need to. And one of the things that I got a little bold this time, like normally I try to be very matchy, but this time I thought outside the box a little bit, and I decided, and now that I have enough of this sock, I have a good amount of the other one done as well. I just have to do the heel and the foot of the second sock. But look at this. Let me show you this way. Yay! Look at that. A little pop of color in the heel. And really putting this on the sock blocker, by the way, Christy. Okay, for those of you who have tired of hearing about this pattern, I apologize, but I can't say that I'm sorry because the slip and swirl socks are amazing. So that's how they're looking on the sock blocker. I'm very excited about that. But let me show you something, though, that I was a little frustrated by. Look at this nonsense. I am not going to be able to match up my Knit Picks Felici socks perfectly by stripe. I've decided I'm going to take a cue from my friend Lisa, who does the Knitting by the Sea podcast, and I'm just going to say, hey, it's just knitting, and I'm going to have to live with it, because if you look, you know what, maybe I can show you guys this real quick. If you look, I perfectly matched up the cuffs. I'm sorry, I'm pausing there for a second. But for some reason, and I'm not blaming the socks. I'm not blaming the yarn, rather. I think maybe I started with the wrong section of blues. Maybe I needed to pull out the yarn and kind of think it through a little bit more, but I really thought I matched them up correctly, but I didn't. But I don't care, because you know what? When I notice that, I'm going to be distracted by that popping heel. So forget it. I'm just going to keep going. I'm almost done to the point where I get to start decreasing for the toe on this one, and then I'll be cranking along on the other one as well. So I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an update on how those slip and swirl socks were coming along, because even though I have not cast on another pair of socks, I'm very excited to get these done. So that's that. Another thing I wanted to pull out, because you know what's interesting? As much as I loved the idea of coming up with dreams, I was doing a lot of reflecting when I was rating myself on all of the dreams and schemes. And remember how I said that sometimes it's okay to admit that you're not doing as well as you wanted because you've been distracted by new things? The other thing that I've not talked about at all is, what about all of the poor, sad, languishing whips? I almost feel like a whip on the go at all times should have been a dream of mine to begin with, because I definitely have a lot of projects that I've started that I'm very excited to finish. So the one thing that I did recently was I did go back through my whips, and I decided I wanted to pull out one from sort of hibernation and set a plan in motion for finishing it. So I wanted to show you, and I think it's kind of, I chose this one specifically for a reason, and I think you'll see why in a second. But last summer, I was gifted this amazing pattern. I'm sorry, this is so crinkled and messy, but it's a lovely bag pattern. It's the Mobile Market bag, and it was designed by Melanie Douglas, who has become an Instagram friend of mine. And she was so sweet. She gifted this pattern to me shortly after Jamie had his heart attack. And, we had talked about the fact that obviously we were going to be changing, the way we were eating a little bit, even though we weren't like the worst eaters in the world. But, our future was going to see a lot more vegetables and fruits. So a lot of times what that meant for me is acknowledging the fact that we were going to be visiting the farmer's market. So I was excited to work on this bag. And when I pulled this out of my project bag, which by the way, this is living in I haven't showed this one to you guys in a while, but this is a Knit Spin Farm bag with all of these adorable little woodland creatures on it. I love this one. I'm definitely a fan of drawstring bags. I will certainly admit to that. But here we go. Speaking of bags, I did not use anything fancy. I am using, and what I think is really fascinating about this bag is that it's kind of droopy at the moment. I think when I block this out, I'll be able to shape it a bit. But I realized too that the purpose of this bag is just to be able to shove a bunch of fruits and vegetables in it when we go to the farmer's market. But how sad is this? The bag itself is done, and one handle is almost completely done. So this handle is going to attach to this side, right? So there's one handle. I still have a little ways to go though. It has to be, well, maybe it's only about halfway done. And then I have to do the second handle. The handles do not take that long. I just have to do it. So I definitely think I'm going to kind of figure out where I had left off with this, get myself back on track and finish this up. And my goal is to have it finished in time for farmers market season. We had hoped to hit up the Keene Valley Farmers Market, which, by the way, if you remember from way back when, is the farmers market where I ran into Val a while back, which was so fun. It was the first time I had ever met a viewer of the podcast, like just out in the wild. It was so cool. So I definitely would like to have this ready. I think that farmers market starts up on June 18th, and we will be up here that weekend. So I would love to be able to have this ready by June 18th so that I can actually take it. And when we go shopping at the farmer's market, I can pick up some stuff there. We also have a farmer's market home in Flemington, New Jersey. So hopefully I'll be able to bring it there as well. So anyway, Melanie, thank you so much. I wonder if you are still watching the podcast, which I'm not sure if you are or not, you probably have been wondering, hey, Candy, what in the world happened with that bag that you started like forever ago? Well, here it is. It was a whip, and now it's back in the rotation. All right. Okay. Couple more things. And this is where I have some couple new to me dyers that I would like to brag on for a little bit, because I had, I think, maybe a couple weeks ago, that I got some amazing mail. I had heard from 2 dyers who had asked if they could send me some goodies. And of course, I always welcome that. And it's exciting to see what, it's so exciting to just see what different people's color concepts are. And, even to look at sort of their own packaging and their label and sort of how they've branded themselves. I'm just fascinated by. I'm so impressed with the indie dyers out there. It's almost becoming hard to keep on top of how many of them I would like to try. But anyway, Carolyn from Wild Happy Color Yarns had contacted me via Instagram and asked if she could send me a couple skeins of yarn. So she has sent one for me and then one for you guys. And I wanted to show you, I'm not taking these out of the packaging because they are packaged nicely. So I guess I have to say the obligatory sorry for the crinkling line. Although, by the way, I don't know. People apologize for that. It really doesn't bother me too much when I hear it anyway. But here we go. This is Carolyn's, one of the skeins that Carolyn sent. This is, I believe, Lagoon. Let me make sure I have that right. Yes. This is Lagoon, and Carolyn's base, it's an 80-20, so it's 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon, but it's so pretty. That's the only bad thing about not taking it out of the package, is I hope you can see the colors. This one is spectacular. Every once in a while, too, there's a My Mom color in there. I don't know if you're going to see it, but see that like pop of green? I love that. That's so much fun. So this is Lagoon. She also included a really adorable little stitch marker in there as well. So that's that one. And check out this other color. The second one is called Indian Summer. Holy cow. This one is gorgeous as well. I don't know what to do. I'm not really sure. I love them both. So I think this is going to be one of these things where when I give this away, which you'll find out in a moment that I will be giving it away for one of the Cal prizes that I have to announce, I think I might let the winner choose which one they would like of these 2 gorgeous Wild Happy Color skeins, because I just can't pick. I think I would want both of these. I mean, they would obviously make awesome socks, but I think I would want both of these somehow to be incorporated into a shawl of some sort. So you guys can help me with that. Whoever the winner is can help me decide which one of these is going to someday grow up to be a shawl. All right, for me. And then you can decide what you want it to be for you. So that's that. And the second dyer that I was so excited to find out, there is a woman named Jackie who works at the Yarn Attic, my local yarn shop. And Jackie, unbeknownst to me, has actually started dyeing yarn herself. And her yarny name, if you will, is Jackie's Original Fibers. And I love her little logo, has these awesome unicorns on it. with rainbow manes and horn. So that is just amazing in and of itself. But Jackie also has graciously sent 2 skeins, one for me and one for you as well. I'm going to save this one. I'm not going to give this away just yet, but I wanted to show you how beautiful the yarn is so that you can go ahead on over and take a look at Jackie's original fibers yourself. Both of these skeins are 100% superwash merino. And this colorway, perfectly named because it is, right? Isn't it the last day of May today, I think, when I am podcasting? This colorway skein is called May. Let me hold this with one hand so you can really see it better. There we go. Look how pretty. Again, the color in the cabin today, you guys, by the way, it's a little gloomy out there. And because we are situated around so many trees, if I face the side of the house where all of the windows are, you know, in the big part of the main room, sometimes then the glare is really bad. But then if I have to go somewhere else, then sometimes I feel like I'm not getting enough light. So it's kind of hard to win, but I think you can still see that. Beautiful job, Jackie. You did a really nice job with this. The other one is super fun as well. This one is actually, and how did I do this? Probably in my packing adventures, I managed to mess this up. Nice. There we go. That's a little better. This one is so much fun. It's called Circus. There are so many fun and cool colors going on in here. I think that's a really good angle to show you. Look at that. There's even like surprise of yellow. So much fun. I think this would be a lot of fun to work with. So anyway, thank you so much, Jackie, for sending that our way. I think I'll probably do the same thing when I am ready to give this away. This might be a good summer top Cal prize, perhaps. Maybe that I'll put together with a couple other things. So who knows? Stay tuned for that. But thank you again. It was nice to get some fun sort of surprise acquisitions in the mail recently, and I wanted to share them with you. All right, let's see. We have 2 more things, podcast-related things to talk about. Not podcast-related things, but knitting-related things. One of them is the drawing that I promised I would do on this episode. It is the drawing, as late as it seems, for the March/April Mitten a Month Knit Along. There were 4 people who put in finished objects, and if you remember, for this Cal, the way it works is that we actually, you end up with 1 entry per finished mitten a month. So you can, for however many mittens you finished, actually, I'm sorry, within that 2-month span, since I'm doing this every other month, you get an entry. So let me just run down. It's actually easy enough that I can just do this. So Rosalba B, I think, had 2 finished mittens, handy covery things. Yarn Taxi Driver had a lovely mitten in there. Saratoga Knitting had an awesome mitt in there. And then we had B.E. Campbell coming in with not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 finished mitts or mittens in those 2 months. So you go, girl. That is insane. So thank you, ladies, for all of your amazing submissions. What I did this time, as you can see, is I went ahead and for each of those, I put your names on a piece of paper, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw for that right out of here. You know what? Sometimes I love random number generator, Mary Beth, but sometimes it's fun to go like old school names in a bowl. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to do today. So here we go. Let me go just crinkle these up a little bit. If Jamie were here, I'd have him pick, but he's off picking up some stuff. So let's see what we got here. All right. Let's see who the winner is. There we go. All of that hard work paid off, girl. So there we go. I am going to be contacting you to let you know that you are going to be able to choose, what did I say, from one of these 2 lovely skeins of yarn from Wild Happy Color. They are fingering weight, so I don't know. You might be able to figure something out with mitts for them if you wanted to, but they'll work just as well for everything else. The other thing I had said that I would throw into the mix, I think in the last podcast, was one of the little gauge coasters, which I didn't bring up with me again this time, and the Progress Keeper holders from Barbara of the Knitting I Love podcast. So I will definitely get those things ready to send your way as soon as you let me know what your address information is. Thank you so much, you guys. All right, and last but not least, I feel like I should sound some sort of an alarm for this or something, but we had talked about in the Slow Ass Knitters group for our summer top knit along, we had talked about doing something where we would do sort of surprise flash drawings from the chatter thread from time to time. I believe Lucky Jenny has already done one, I think, and I think maybe it was Lynn who did one. So I am going to follow their fabulous leads and do one myself. This is going to be a little crazy because I have to do some toggling around back and forth here. I've never done this before, just kind of on the spot. So if I go to the end in our chatter thread, we have 203 entries. Now, of course, that includes the first one. So I think, yeah, 203 entries. That includes the first one, which is all the information. And it also includes some of the things that, you know, Jenny and Lynn and Amy and Lacey and myself have chimed in on as well, but I would like to give out a pattern to a lucky winner right now. So let me go ahead and kind of go back and forth here between random number generator. Here we go. This time it is going to be random number generator. So we're going to do, I'll still do from 1 to 203 and generate. We get result 87. So let me go back to the other page. Where do we think that will fall? Maybe around page 6. Give me a second here, you guys. I'm sorry. Oh, no, I got to go back. I'm sure mathematically there was some better way to make a prediction about that. What did I just say? 87? Here we go. Oh, hooray! Okay. I'm going to be gifting a pattern of her choice to Wendelika, who basically is working furiously on her summer top. She has been an active poster in the thread, so I'm super excited for you. This is Wendelika's from Oregon, and I hope that she will be excited to go into that bundle and choose a pattern of her choice. And Wendelika, I will definitely send that your way via the Ravelries. All right. That is it for now. I am going to stop here because if Jamie gets home from where he is, I'm going to ask him if he feels like chatting with me a little bit about some of the stuff that we had going on this week while we were here, this weekend while we were up here. If not, because let's just say he's wearing what we refer to as the tan tuxedo. Although now the tan tuxedo is really more tan pants and an old blue t-shirt. So we think we lost the tan t-shirt. That was part of the tan tuxedo. So he's looking kind of grungy because he is still, the last day that we're here, finishing up with some things related to the outdoor stuff that we've been working on. So I'm going to say hold that thought for a second. And when I come back, whether it's just me or whether it's me and Jamie, we're just going to spend a few minutes catching you guys up on all of the cabin chatter and the goings on up here in the Adirondacks. All right, so I will talk to you soon, but in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed all of the nitty stuff that I had to share with you today. All right, be right back.
Hey guys, it is Candy again. Hello, I am by myself, and I am just going to take a short video to kind of show you guys some of what Jamie and I have been up to this weekend at the cabin, otherwise known as Cabin Antics. We're going to jump right in. So we have been spending a lot of time this weekend doing some planting at the cabin. So the first thing I just wanted to show you guys is we have been working on these planter boxes. And we kind of went back and forth. We weren't really sure what we wanted to do. Jamie had ideas about something else that would have been a little bit more massive. He still is, these are not completely finished. He went and bought some stuff today. Actually, that's what the video that I will either I inserted it already or I will insert it. He's cutting some really cool material that he purchased at Specialty Hardware. Oh, look at this. We've got some friends apparently coming out. I wasn't aware that there would be a crushed bottle and doggies coming out, but that's fine. They can certainly help. They've finally woken up because most of the podcasts they have been, oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be a great sound. Sound quality is going to be fabulous here. Talk about apologizing for the crinkling in a package. What about apologizing for the crinkling of a diet tonic water bottle? Not crinkling, but chomping on. So we're going to see if we can grab this from the sissy. Oh, yeah. Ah, no. Oh, boy. Never mind. We'll let her go over there. Anyway, if I can get it, great. If not, no, we got it. Seriously? Ooh, seriously. I was excited that there were no earthquakes during this podcast episode, but I was not anticipating the mysterious tonic bottle. Anyway, so over here we also have another addition to the, besides the wagging black tail, we also have another addition to the porch, which is a little herb garden which Jamie planted. He actually ordered this kind of cool flower bed thingy from Amazon, but then it did not come with this bottom shelf, which he actually figured out a way to sort of install that himself. So now we've got some herbs. Hopefully we'll be able to use these when we come up here for all of our cooking adventures. So he was sort of the herb gardener. I was the flower gardener. So I'll take you down here to show you guys the rest. Again, more of these planter boxes, which I'm really excited about. These weren't too hard to do because, as you can see, the daisies that I put in were the daisies and that bluish purple plant in the middle, and the other daisy they came as a larger plant itself, so these were a little bit easier to kind of figure out. And then I think this was coleus, if I'm not mistaken. Really cool. Who knows what'll happen with it, but hopefully between that and the birds, we'll get some visitors. This planter, on the other hand, was a little bit trickier to do because this was sort of a mix of some petunias, and I don't remember what this really pretty little flower was called, but and also the different colored coleus. They came in 6-packs, so I just kind of tried to wing it and see if I could sort of divide them up and put them in a planter in a way that might look somewhat attractive. So we have that, and then we have the last one over here. Also, too, the other thing that we did was we actually went ahead and got some hanging baskets. So you can see that here. They look great now. The only thing that we're not 100% sure about is whether or not that they will last. Because again, they're supposed to probably get more sun than they're going to get being under this overhang from the porch, but we shall see. The other thing you might be wondering about is, okay, you guys aren't here all the time, so how are you planning on watering all of these hanging baskets that are now hanging from the porch? But Jamie has a plan for that, and if Jamie gets the chance to work on that before we leave here today, maybe I will have him kind of show you guys what that looks like. But for now, he's down at the end, down there you can kind of see him, and he is working on cutting the material for what he plans to do for the planter boxes to kind of a little bit more decorative than they are now. So again, let me kind of pan back over there. Oh, there's our little country. But if you can see the planter boxes, what he's working on is he got this material that he hopes to use to kind of build something that will decorate the outside of those. So that's where we are right now. That's mostly what we worked on this weekend. There we have a scratching puppy and a sunbathing puppy. Clarence loves the sun. These guys crack me up. But anyway, I'm gonna say see you later for now. There's a doggy butt. Sorry about that shot, but we shall see. But I think it looks good. I'm excited about what we got done this weekend. But the one last thing that I might share with you guys, if Jamie decides to work on it a little bit, is the solution he has for watering these plants while we're not around. So in the meantime, we'll let Clarence say goodbye for now. And there's Addie. All right. So see you guys in a little bit. Hey everybody, and we are going to get ready to say goodbye, but I did manage to find Jamie and some dogs.
Yeah, Claire.
Guess what? We are not going to be able to water the plants.
Nope.
It looks like we are going to be coming back next weekend to do what is it that you're planning on?
I want to put in a watering system
All right,
with sprinklers and everything to all the plants and planters.
how's that going to happen?
By magic. No, it's you hook up a timer and then you just run 1/4-inch line, and then you put sprinklers at the end of each of the lines, so it's going to drop right into all the hanging baskets. And I have these stakes where I'm going to put two heads in each of the flower boxes.
Okay. But now it's time to go home.
Yeah,
so.
unfortunately, it got too late.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait until next weekend to do that. So in the meantime, if you can see behind us, there's a lot of flowers back there on the ground. We just
Hopefully
gave
they'll
them
get some
a
water.
ton of water, and hopefully that will do the trick. But in the meantime, this is like a mini OMJ segment.
With black flies. They're all over the place all of a
black
sudden.
Flies. So, and Clarence and a black lab. Black flies and a black lab. So, I guess that's it for now. Hopefully
There he wants to get in the picture.
we'll be able to update you guys maybe next weekend. But in the meantime, and there's Addie somewhere. She wants to get in on the show too. But in the meantime, we're going to head home for the weekend.
Yep.
And hopefully we will see you guys soon. And in the meantime, as we always say, don't forget to take the time out this week to pause for those stitches, all right? Have a great week. Take care, you guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.